Alright guys, you have made it to lesson 15, the most important chapter in Java. It is all about classes and objects. Now, Java is referred to as an OOP, which is an object-oriented programming language. Okay, so I want you to think about a class being like a cookie cutter. So a class is a cookie cutter and the objects are the cookies that it produces. So basically your class defines the objects, and the objects are created by the class. Also, that's a baking analogy for cookies, not the internet cookies. So just like you would use a cookie cutter to form your cookies, we use a class to form our objects. So just like a cookie cutter can produce many cookies, a class can produce many objects. So what I need you to do is I need you to make your first class, and we're going to name this one Lesson 15. It's public. Click Public Static Void Main, and then click Finish. All right, put in your typical, that is not typical. There we go. Put in your author, your date, lesson 15, classes and objects. Okay, so I'm going to format, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a secondary class set up. So save that one, click back on your source, and add a new class. And we're going to name this class Circle, but make sure you leave your public static void main unchecked and click Finish. Okay, so our Circle class is going to behave like our cookie cutter. So I'm going to come up here, author, date, lesson 15, classes and objects, and this is going to be Circle. And I'm going to say V0 because it's our version 0. Alright, and now I'm going to throw a bunch of vocab at you, so just bear with me. I know it's going to be kind of confusing. This is going to be one of the weirdest things we've done so far. But this first part, we're going to create a constructor. So I'm going to make a comment, and we're going to specify the radius of a circle. Okay, so we're going to put our constructor here. So we're going to say public because we want our variable to be public. Call it circle. And we're going to say double R for radius. Open a new bracket, and in there we're going to say radius equals R. Alright, so the next part we're going to do is we're going to come down and we're going to create a method. So we've used a couple of methods before in our experience with Java, right? Like .to uppercase, .to lowercase, math.square root, all that good stuff. Those are methods that already exist in Java. So now we're going to learn the ability to begin our own methods and create ways for our programs to run by our own design. So this method, and I'm going to put this in my comments, performs an action. So all methods perform an action of some sort. So for this one, since we are dealing with a circle, we are going to take that radius r that we just got, and we're going to create a method. So come on down, and we're going to call this public double area. So, and you need those open and close parentheses because if we have public method our public double area, what we do is you would say like area dot or something dot area. So if we're like putting in circle 1, we'd say circle 1 dot area, and it would know to come here to this method and do that. So in your open parentheses, we need to calculate the area. So the way you calculate an area of a circle is pi r squared. So double, and we're just going to call this a. A is going to be our area variable. Double A equals math dot pi times radius, which is from up here in our constructor, times radius. End with a semicolon, and then come down and say return A. And I'm going to tab those over so that they work out a little bit more even, so I have everything consistent. Okay, so we also have some other things we can do for a circle. So let's put in one more thing. So I'm going to say that this is our area method and put that comment in there so if we come back we know. And the next one we're going to do is we're just going to do public double circumference, open close parentheses, and this is going to be our circumference method. Okay, open parenthesis, or open bracket, close bracket. And we're going to say double C equals 2 times math.pi times radius, because 2 pi r is circumference, and then return C. Okay, and the last thing that we're going to need is come down a couple lines to line 27, and we're going to say public double radius. Put a semicolon after that. So this is what you would call a state variable, or it's called an instance field. It could also be called a data member. So basically, this makes it available to work in all methods in this class. So I know not a whole lot of this makes sense, but trust me, you're going to get a little bit of time to work with this, and then you'll be great with it. All right, so now that we have our circle class set up, let's make a cookie. We have our cookie cutter all set up. Radius, you could do stuff with the radius. So we've got our whole cookie cutter set up, so let's make that cookie. So go into lesson 15. And you can switch back and forth between the tabs up here too. Okay, so when you come in here to make your cookie, that's not really what we're doing. What we're doing is we're going to be creating an object from our class. And the word that you use to do that is called, are you ready for our special word of the day? It is called instantiating. Woo, go crazy. Instantiating. You learned a really cool new word for today. Congratulations. So, like what you would say you're creating a cookie, we instantiate an object. So what we're going to do is we're going to say circle, because we're calling on our circle class there. And we're going to say CIR1. So that's our variable name. You can name whatever you like. You could call it Sally, you could call it Jimmy, you could call it barbecue, whatever you would like it to be called. So since we're creating a new circle, we always start with the word new. So now we're going to call our new circle. So we are actually going to be calling on our method, not our method, our constructor. So we're calling on our constructor. Now that constructor is a method. So let's go look at its signature. So we created a signature for it, and look, remember those open close parentheses that we put right at the end of that? We need to put in a double. It's going to expect us to enter in a double. Okay, so let's send it a double. So whatever number you put in to these open close parentheses needs to be that double that is now going to be R. So you can pick any number you like. I'm going to pick 5.1 for this one. But it has to be a double, so any number. And I'm just going to reiterate. So this is your circle type that we just created in our circle method over there. So It's not an int, it's not a string, it's not a character, it's a circle that we just created. Okay, so let's come down and we're going to create a second one. So we're going to call on another new circle and then we're going to call this one sir2. Again, the variable can be whatever you like it to be. And it's also going to be a new and it's going to call on that circle constructor. And again, you could put in whatever double you would like, excluding the one that you just put in. So I'm going to put in 20.6, do whatever you like. Okay, so let's get it to do something. So come on down and we'll do a system.out.print line to make sure it works. So let's have it print the area of circle 1. So we're going to say sir1 dot area and then put the open and close parentheses at the end and your semicolon. Okay, and the reason we put open and close parentheses here is because area is a method. We put information in here because circle is a constructor. So constructors get sent information. Methods return information. So for this, we're going to leave open and close parentheses. We have no errors. We don't even have an error in circle or Java. So let's go ahead and run it. All right. So now it's going to run both of them at the same time. Since lesson 15 references circle, you have to do that. So click OK. All right, so we got some errors. So let's look. What does it say here? Radius cannot be resolved to a variable because it wants it to be double radius. So right above your constructor, let's put in double radius. And that took care of all of our errors. So go back to lesson 15, run it, make sure circle is checked and click OK. And now it's 81.7. Okay, so if we are checking out our handy dandy calculator and we have radius of 5.1, so 5.1 times 5.1 times 3.14159 is 81. So we did this correctly. Hooray! Okay, so let's try something else. Our area works for circle 1. So let's modify this. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to comment it out and I'm going to copy and paste the part I need. So, oop, wrong button. Alright, so we are going to print sir2 and we're going to print its radius. Okay, so notice we put nothing after radius, so let's go see why. So let's look at our circle class. So since this is a state variable down here, the radius should be stored in this variable, except for the fact that I misspelled radius. Now, you may be wondering why. I did this up here. We no longer need it. And now our everything should work great. Okay, so we have our state variable radius down here. It's a public double radius. Note it's not a method. It's just a stating whatever it is. So we can just run radius. So click run, click OK, and it returns 20.6, which is exactly what our radius is. And I do want to clarify a point here. So notice how we've been running it from lesson 15, not from circle. Circle doesn't do anything. Circle is just our cookie cutter. You don't eat the cookie cutter. You eat the cookie. So you run the program that has your objects in it, but it uses your class. Does that make sense? Okay, so you are going to need to go on to the second video because we are not done with this. This is one of the harder parts to understand of Java, and I want to make sure you get enough time with it. So please go on to the next video. I apologize that it's long, but it will help you, I promise.